Today we're doing zippers. We are doing a lapped zipper application, which is what you would find at the back of a skirt or at the back of a dress or on the left side seam of a dress that zips closed on the side. We need to start by talking about zipper feet because I don't know what kinds of machines you have. So this is the zipper foot for my machine. And this is very much like the zipper feet for the singers in the Marymount shop. And the way this works is you'll go ahead and raise the presser foot on your machine, and then there will be a little place to squeeze at the back that will drop your foot. And then you put the zipper foot underneath, and you can clamp it on either the left side or the right side. And which side you want will depend on which side of the zipper you're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it on the left side, and this is surprisingly difficult with only one hand. So I'm going to drop this onto the foot, and it's going to then clamp on and pick up the foot. Now, as you get close to this foot, you'll see that it has a notch on this side and on this side. That is for the needle to fit through, and you always want to do a visual check and make sure that your needle isn't going to hit your presser foot. If it does, you've done something wrong. All right, so there are two other kinds of presser feet that you might have for a zipper depending on your machine. This is an adjustable zipper foot. And again, it will have a notch for the needle on either side depending on which side of the zipper you're on. And at the back it will have this screw, and you can loosen that and then slide the foot wherever you need it to be so that you can get your zipper on. So it can either be here or here depending on which side you need your needle to be on. And then you might also have a one-sided foot like this, which there's also one that is the mirror image of this. For most machines, I only have the one that's this way for my old machine. It doesn't fit on the machine that I have out right now. And again, it has the cutout so that you can get your needle right next to the zipper. So this is the opening that I'm going to put my lapped zipper into, and I've gone ahead and sewn it up to the notch and done a back stitch here. And you can see that I have a 2-inch seam allowance, and here is my opening all ready to go. This is my zipper. Now my zipper was too long, so I had to put a thread stopper at the bottom. They also make metal stoppers for these, but I don't have one here, so I had to do a thread one. And the way I figured out how long it was going to be was, I know that I'm going to want room for a hook at the top, so that's a 1/2 inch, and then I have a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. So I set my zipper 1 inch down from the top, and then I walked it down to the bottom of my opening, and I put the stock right below that, and then I cut it with a pair of craft scissors because I didn't want to ruin my good paper scissors. My good fabric scissors. So now that I have my opening all ready to go, I need to set up my overlap. Now I'm going to lap this with the right side over the left side. That's the standard in the shop that I work for center back. That varies from shop to shop. You must ask which way your shop prefers things to be done. If it were going to be on the left side of the body, it would actually go the other way so that my front is overlapping my back. So I'm going to start by pressing this on the stitching line. You can see the stitching line here, and you can see that my pressing line is right on the stitching line. But on the underlap side, I want this to actually underlap a little bit. Most of the directions on zipper packages that you'll buy will tell you to baste that seam together. I don't like it because it means that you're just putting a centered zipper in off center and we can see the zipper. If you make it overlap a little bit, then we won't see the zipper. So instead of pressing right on the stitching line, I've pressed this back about 1/8 of an inch away. And you can see here that I have lightly traced where my stitching line is on the face of this fabric. Okay, so we're going to start with the underlap side of this zipper. And I am going to set this so that the top stop is 1 inch down and so that the pressed fold is just outside the zipper teeth. I also want to set up my foot so that it's all the way over to the left and my needle is going down through the right slot because I want it to run right next to the zipper teeth. And I'm going to start up at the top. And I'm just top stitching this in. Why are we just top stitching this in instead of sewing it to the seam allowance first? Because this is for theater and we would like to be able to change the way this is set after a first fitting, and only after the first fitting will we do a second stitch to make it more permanent. So I'm going to back stitch. And you can see that the zipper foot is out of the way of my teeth. If I weren't using a zipper foot, the presser foot would be sitting right on top of those teeth and I would have a very difficult time getting this to feed through and getting it to sew straight. So I'm stitching with this top stitch right on what would be my stitching line. And now as I get down to the bottom, you can see that this zipper pull is going to be in the way. So I'm going to make sure that my needle is down. And I'm going to lift up my presser foot and I'm going to pull my zipper pull up past my presser foot, and then I'm going to put my presser foot back down and I'm going to keep going all the way down to the top of my opening. And I'm going to back stitch and I'm going to cut my thread. And that's half my zipper. Yeah. So now we have half of our zipper sewn in with the top stitch on the underlap side of our zipper. So that we can get the overlap side sewn in, we're going to flip that zipper tab up and we're going to lay this down right along the top stitch of the underlap side of our zipper because we made sure that that was right on our center line. And I'm going to throw about 2 or 3 pins in on this side so that I'm sure that my overlap is coming exactly to where I want it to come. And when I get up to the top, I'm going to make sure that I put a pin in here with enough room so that this neatly overlaps the pull. Then I'm going to flip this over because I'm really going to be stitching this from the back and from the bottom up. So I'm going to put pins in right along. You can see this place where the weave changes. I want to be outside of that so that my zipper pull slides freely. And just for reference, it's about the same distance as I was away on the other side. I'm going to put a bunch of pins in so that everything stays put the way I want it to. And then I'm going to pull out the pins from the other side. Now, if you don't have an adjustable zipper foot and you only have one side, you can stitch this with the zipper teeth on the same side and from the top down. I just like it better if you do have both sides of your zipper foot or an adjustable zipper foot. I like to go from the bottom to the top on the second side. It's a little easier to work around your zipper pull, and I feel like it just goes in a little bit better. And then when we get up to the top, we're going to put a couple pins in right by the zipper pull. And we have to switch our zipper foot. So we're going to drop it and we're going to shift it over to the other side and pick it up with the machine. If you have an adjustable zipper foot like this, you're going to undo the crank and you're going to slide it to the other side. And the zipper teeth are on the same side of as my needle, and my zipper foot is on the opposite side. And I'm going to drop this right down by the back stitch from the other side, which I can see. And I'm going to back stitch. And then I'm going to go up the other side. As I start to get close to this zipper pull, once again, it's going to be in my way. So once again, I'm going to stop with my needle down. I'm going to raise my presser foot with my needle down. I'm going to slide my zipper pull out of the way. It's a little trickier on this side, but you should be able to get it. Just kind of walk it down with your fingers and then drop your presser foot and keep going. And then when I get up to the top, I'm going to backstitch. And now, I have a top stitched zipper. Now, after my fitting, I need to do what's called a second stitch, and I'll flip everything out of the way. And I'm going to do a second stitch out at the outside of my zipper tape. And there may be times when you don't want to see a top stitch. And if that's true, then you're basically going to sew your zipper to just your seam allowance. And then you're going to do a pick stitch along the line where you see my top stitch in this. We'll talk more about that in class. And I'll also give you some references where you can look up the procedure for that. So this has a second stitch so that it's in there forever. And you can see right here, I got a little wobble where I moved my zipper pull down. This machine has a big screw, which was making it hard for me to move my zipper pull down. All right, so that's how to put in a lapped zipper.